live. Hi, folks. Yes, uh, yes. Despite various teething problems we've had over the past few days, technical issues and issues to do with gender dysphoria, which resulted in me bursting into tears on my friend Alex. I am back. You just got to keep, you get knocked down, you got to get back up. So, we'll be covering some of the stories I was trying to cover last night. Again, because some of them were visual, and because I forgot to swap scenes in OBS, you couldn't see shit. I consider this to be a sort of mini show relaunch. I'm still finding my feet with this sort of stuff and finding my voice. But we will get there. And, well, when you make a mistake, such a mistake, you don't forget to, you don't, already brain fart. Brain farts are cool. No, you fuck up once, so you remember not to do it again. And, well, I'm not going to do it again. Okay, so a bit of housekeeping first of all. Please do follow me on Twitter. The aim is to get to 4,000 followers by the end of January. I will follow most people back so long as, they're not fascist trolls, transphobic trolls, TERFs, etc. And as long as they don't have in their bio affiliate marketing or some other sales pitch. Not interested, sorry. Don't forget you can support me on Patreon. I've got 2 patrons at the moment. It would be nice to get some more. Yes, I don't do this primarily for the money, but it would be nice to make some money from what I do. Primary motivation should never be money. Also, there is a pay if you just want to make a one-off donation. There is a PayPal link below. Please, someone send me a donation because I don't actually know if it fucking works. Anyways, but if you do want to support me on a regular basis, you can support me on Patreon. I'll admit this page needs a bit of tidying up. I will try and do that Saturday, but there is rugby on the television. Anyways, onwards with the show.
Sorry.
I hear a voice. I hear a voice. Is that Ozma?
Yeah.
Yes. The real reason actually me and Ozma are not on camera is because, well, the human meat suits provided by George Soros, praise be upon him, do get a bit itchy and a bit tight sometimes. But this is how me and Ozma look in real life.
I mean, admittedly, you look like that. I look a lot worse. Like, way worse. You're like a really good-looking one. Like, me... Nah, I've just got a quality skin suit. So, like...
Yeah, you got a new one last November, didn't you? George provided you a new one, yeah. Yeah.
With nicer boobs.
Yeah. But he still hasn't provided us access to the secret space laser, has he, yet? Which we'll get to
that's unfortunate. I wanted to go for the space laser tour.
Yeah. But yeah, The thing is, this is going to be clipped out of context, isn't it? Yeah.
That's fine. Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing, what people don't realise is the amount of anti-Semitic shit being Ozma, which are directed at the likes of being Ozma for being Jewish. The only way to deal with it is to use the shit they say about us against them. Yeah, just to do. It's our way of dealing with the absurdities of all the shit you hear from various anti-Semitic bigots, whether it be Alex Jones or David Icke.
Yeah.
It's a coping mechanism. Anyways, yes. Let's talk about the secret. Well, it's not a secret anymore, is it? It's Space Laser.
Yeah.
No. So yes, Marjorie Taylor-Green, who is a congresswoman in Georgia, and one has to wonder the kind of demographics that live in her district, for her to get elected, considering all the shit she says.
Well, what she does is she puts Republican on the ballot, and the Republican Party's like, you're not liberal, so we're totally on board with you.
Yeah, and people just go to the voting booth and they'll go, well, my daddy voted Republican and my great-granddaddy voted Republican, so I'm going to vote Republican. They just vote for someone who's got a fucking R after the name.
Yeah.
Rather than checking actually what they stand for. I mean, this was the part of the point, our friend Aria de Meslo was trying to make, don't fill people in. Aria de Meslo, who is certainly not a Republican, decided to run as a Republican in the town she lives in to be sheriff.
Which would have been awesome.
Yeah. But when the Republicans found out the kind of stuff she stood for, which was legalizing all drugs and defunding the police, they weren't happy. Well, you went into the vote. Oh, well, they got an R after the name. Tick.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yes, there's been a lot of media attention paid to Marjorie Taylor-Green, and sorry, I said the shit she says. I should actually correct myself. The crazy batshit stuff she says. She's a QAnon cultist, isn't she? Yeah, the thing about Marjorie I always thought that Michelle Bachmann, remind me, where is Michelle Bachmann from?
Alaska, I believe. Wait, Michelle Bachmann. Wait, no, I'm thinking... Am I thinking the right person?
Palin.
Fuck.
No, Michelle Bachmann.
I'm thinking of Sarah Palin. You're right. No, sorry, I confused the two
I'm being a bit sarcastic here because I definitely know where she's from, and you should have known where she's from. Minnesota.
Look. Oh yeah.
I mean,
shut up. I knew the name sounded right. God damn it.
We thought she was batshit crazy, but I mean. And we thought no one could ever top the shit she came out with, but no, Marjorie Taylor-Green has really taken the biscuit. So here's some of the so yes, she believes this is what she said. This is the reference to the QAnon conspiracy. The QAnon conspiracy, which holds that Donald Trump is secretly fighting a worldwide child sex ring that was supposed to culminate in the arrest of his political opponents, is worth listening to.
Yeah.
So some shit written. I mean, it wasn't this emulated not from 4chan, but some site like 4chan. This is what I. It was basically an internet troll, and I thought, I'm just going to write this shit. Gullible fucks will take this seriously. I mean, they're probably, it's probably some, I don't know, 14-year-old kid in their fucking mum's basement laughing their fucking tits off.
Hey,
at the fucking mayhem they've caused.
Look, Mom's basement was a comfortable place. I know I never got the chance to live in my mom's basement since I was mostly on the second floor, but still, no
Well,
hate on Mom's basement. But that said, Donald Trump would be fighting for the child sex
well, yeah,
slavery.
because but yeah, well, it'd be fighting for for them to be made legal. Because I mean, his best mate was Jeffrey fucking Epstein.
Yeah.
Muslims don't belong in government. Uh,
Disagree.
hey, Marjorie, have you read the First Amendment? Freedom of religion.
Yeah.
9/11 was an inside job. Shootings at Parkland, Sandy Hook, and Las Vegas were staged. Hey, if she does get booted out the GOP and voted out of Congress, she could always become a correspondent for Infowars.
Yeah.
Zionist supremacists are secretly masterminding Muslim immigration to Europe in a scheme to outbreed white people. This is the far right Great Replacement conspiracy theory, pushed by people like Lauren Southern. Leading Democrat officials should be executed. Yes, on 2 occasions that I know of, she has said that Barack Obama should be assassinated. And at least one of those was in 2015. The other was 2019. But in 2015, Barack Obama was still president.
Yeah.
You kind of think, why didn't the authorities take this seriously?
It was likely the phrasing.
So, there's a Facebook post which has been unearthed, where Green, basically, as it says here, just over 2 years ago, Green suggested in a Facebook post that wildfires in California were not natural. Forests don't just catch fire. Rather the blazes have been started by PG&E, which I think is an electricity firm supplier. Yeah. In conjunction with the Rothschilds. Oh, here we go with the fucking Rothschilds. Anyone who starts banging on about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and fucking George Soros, it's dog whistle anti-Semitism time,
Yeah.
Using a space laser in order to clear room for a high-speed rail project. Sorry, yes, they are building a high-speed rail link between Los Angeles and San Francisco. That is true, but the rest of this is bullshit. Here in Green, so here's Green's entire post, which I can't be bothered to read. The Rothschild family has featured heavily in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories since at least the 19th century. Yes, along with the Rockefellers.
Also, just to bring it back a little bit to space lasers, really, forest fires with space lasers? Well, I mean, we could obviously do better than that. Clearly, our space laser is invisible to the Strategic Defense Initiative and the other orbital weaponry that the United States has.
Well, I kind of think that she's probably watched Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1 and thought that Jews in Space sketch was actually a fucking documentary. Jews
out in space. We're zooming along, protecting the Hebrew race. We're Jews out in space. If trouble appears, we put it right back in its place. When Goyim attack us, we give them a smack, we'll slap them right back in their face. We're Jews out in space. We're zooming along, protecting the human race.
So yeah,
It helps when I look at the lyrics.
Anti-Semites have generally updated the theory by replacing the Rothschilds with George Soros. Well, yes, but you know, Alex Jones still bangs on about the fucking Rothschilds as if.
Well, I'm honestly concerned. Shit, was the new Amazon CEO, the CEO replacement for Amazon, Jewish?
I don't know. I haven't seen who's taking over from Jeff Bezos. But anyways, where was I? Yeah, here we are. So the thing about the Rothschilds is that they're not that influential. I mean, the Rothschild bank, you know, compared to the size of the mega banks you have now in China and the United States and India and Japan, the Rothschild bank is rather small. So you kind of think that, you know, their influence has waned somewhat. Yes, George Soros is an incredibly rich man, no doubt about that. But believe me, 8 billion, that doesn't make him the richest man in the world. You know, sure, he wouldn't have to work for the rest of his, well, I mean, he's about 80 now, so, whatever. So, I mean, the thing is that so many times that, you know, I've heard people on, you know, say of any lefty activists, oh, we're all getting paid by George Soros. Oh, I fucking wish we were. Yeah.
Yeah, I could really use that Soros money. I'm trying to deal with Section 8 housing in the United States to move out of my stay up all night roommates. But yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the you know, every time I've heard this bullshit that, you know, the Jews control the world economy, I go, hey, do you want to have a look at my, you know, my credit card bill? Because I can tell you, you know, £20,000 worth of credit card debt, you know, I'm hardly controlling the world economy. So anyways, a more contemporary and plausible seeming mastermind of a global conspiracy, well, yeah, to spread left-wing ideas, well, I've already said all that. Green's version has instead updated the theory by giving the Rothschilds possession of a secret, powerful space laser. Hold on, if it's such a fucking secret, why does she know about it? And secondly, if the
Look, she knows more than the CIA.
Yeah, if the Rothschilds have this space laser, wouldn't they want to, I don't know, I know they want to keep it secret, I don't know, use it on her?
Yeah. And honestly, one space laser isn't that impressive. Like, we would actually need multiple space lasers to get through the orbital bombardment that would likely, or sorry, not orbital bombardment, not that. The space, whatever.
Yeah.
We've got stuff to mess with lasers on space lasers on in the United States because our military budget is fucking insane, and we have enough military that a fascist regime takes over, and we have World War IV.
Yeah. As I said, she thinks the shootings at Parkland, Sandy Hook, and Las Vegas were staged. And I've got a video of her just being utterly despicable to one of the survivors of the Parkland's shooting. Just watch this.
How did you get over 30 appointments with senators? How'd you do that? How did you get major press coverage on this issue? And how did you get kids? Why do you use kids? Why kids? You know, if school zones were protected with security guards with guns, there would be no mass shootings at schools. You know that? The best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun.
I mean,
right there. David, we saw him inside the Senate building. He had 30 appointments where he went.
Oh, sorry, I should have explained to people. This is, as I said, one of the survivors of the Parkland shooting, which she thinks was staged, who has now obviously, has been motivated because of surviving that
surviving a deadly thing kind of
has motivated him to campaign for gun control. It's kind of course, she's your typical American who can't get aroused without, fondling a fucking without fondling an AR-15,
Well, that's only because the police are so good at murdering black people, because back with Black Panthers, where they're the NRA, was fighting for gun control because they're just like black people with guns. That scared them, and the only reason she's making the claims that she is because she's not seeing a black person with a gun in a while.
Yeah, it's funny how the NRA were all for gun control when black people started arming themselves, huh? Yeah. Yeah. The NRA wouldn't be supportive of white supremacy by any chance, would they? Yeah, this is just despicable. I mean, Alex Jones has pulled this shit with David Hogg. He's had his listeners fucking dogpile on David Hogg, and the poor guy, she has no fucking empathy. She's trapped in this lunatic fucking QAnon world of her own. It's just utterly despicable.
Yeah.
Talking of Alex Jones, so this story keeps coming up again and again and again since January the 6th, that he helped basically fund. He was one of the funders of the what was it actually? What was it called? The Stop the Steal originally, the rally.
Oh yeah, that insurrection attempt.
Yeah, I think the original rally was Stop the Steal, and but he basically he of course marched on the Capitol building with the rest of them. And I mean, Jones has put a video out on there was a video, well, he can't put it out on Twitter because he's banned from Twitter, but there was a video posted on Twitter where he said that Trump ordered him to march on the Capitol building. Yet he is saying, oh, sorry, I got that the wrong way. I was meant to talk about that first. Hold on, we'll go back. Yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about this first. Oh, come on. Why are you being a cunt? Right. Okay, I got that the right round. Right, oops. No, hold on. What the oh, shit!
It's fine.
I've lost two bloody stories. Oh, hold on. I know how to do this. Hold on. Oh, no, not that.
You go into the history?
Yeah, I could actually. Hold on. Sorry. Right. Sorry.
It's fine. It's a lot of tabs. It's easy to end up that way. You might want to think about opening up two windows.
Well, I've got two windows open. One so I can have a look at the chat. But you can't see me. Can't see that one, obviously. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Okay, folks. I'm just going to reorganize some stuff. I'm just going to put you back on my slideshow for a minute. I just need to reorganize stuff. Only on live broadcasts, huh?
Yeah, but in terms of mistakes, this is a minor, incredibly understandable one. And the nice thing is, I have jumped in to constantly talk the entire time that you're doing this. So there won't be a quiet moment because I don't shut up. There's a reason why I have managed to do shows for a bit. It's because I don't shut up. In fact, I arguably don't know how to shut up. In fact, when I try to go to bed, sometimes I'm like talking a bunch on Discord, and a part of me just doesn't want to leave the Discord call. And I just keep talking despite the fact that I said I was going to leave the Discord call. It's a real problem, actually, now that I'm thinking about it out loud. So, this has been a good therapy session, chat. I've gone on, talked about my issues, and, I'm glad you're here with me, chat. It's been a real nice time in which I talk about stuff. It probably would have helped if I had chosen a subject. I'll choose one Sophia hates. So, World of Warcraft Classic. The MMO. I have not been doing that great, actually, as a healer in World of Warcraft Classic. I mean, I've been parsing well, but honestly, healing parses are only part of it, and also it doesn't help that we have ungodly good healers. I'm a healing paladin, and I get I parse 90% for healing tanks. And...
Right, enough of that bullshit. Okay, sorry about that, folks. That was just about a heart. This is the way I do it. This better way I do it. I know that Dusty Smith does it with the bookmark manager, but the trouble is that I've tried it that way. I just prefer it this way.
What works for you works for you.
Marjorie Taylor-Green is facing a vote basically to kick her out of the GOP. I don't think they're going to be. Funny enough, there are members of the GOP who are sticking by her, and you kind of think, so do you want to win back the House of Representatives?
Look, they believe in solidarity minus the ethics.
Well, any political strategist worth their salt will basically say that, she's fucking cancer to the GOP.
Oh yeah.
You want to lose votes, fine. Carry on letting her get the press attention she's getting. Now, believe it or not, she was appointed to the Congressional Education Committee. I've heard that she has already been removed from there, right? But here's the deal, right? I mean, the GOP. I got a feeling that the GOP might split because it's obvious that you now got people who have realised, oh, Trump has brought has brought ruin to the fucking GOP, and you've who basically probably want to, I don't know. Well, I do know. That's such a stupid fucking idea. Anyways, they probably want to pitch a more moderate, conservative line, and then you got the Trumpians, right? Who are essentially fascists, right? So that there could very well be a split on the right. And as far as I'm concerned, jolly good, because they'll cancel each other out in elections, and the Democrats will win. So,
and then we need to obviously continue fighting the Democrats because they're centrist pieces of trash too. They're just not centrist pieces of trash trying to make sure you die.
Yeah. Now, here's the so rather than the GOP actually sort of taking note that, hey, people think this woman is batshit crazy and not good, you know, she's a fucking far right extremist, right?
Yeah.
Rather than sort of like taking note of all the really offensive shit she is saying, you know, they are now going after Ilhan Omar for some bullshit she said a few years ago, which I'll admit I have. Do you want to read it out?
I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something Ilhan Omar said about about Israel and being all about the Benjamins or whatever. It was with relation to Israel politics, and it was just poorly stated. And
she did say
it helped spread. I mean, it's based off, to some degree, the language is based off of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Not all about the Benjamins. That just means
it's a bit about the Benjamins, which is a smear, and it's the anti-Semitic smear. I mean, it kind of reminds me of what happened to a Labour MP a few years ago called Nash Shah. She basically said that rather than Jews having to establish the state of Israel in the Middle East, they should have established it in Utah or something or whatever. And she was a parliamentary private secretary to, I forgot which front bencher, but she had to resign her post, and there was an ensuing row. But this post that she had made on Facebook about, you know, which wasn't, you know, wise about Israel, was made some time before she was in Parliament. So the shit was happening with Ilhan Omar sounds kind of the same thing. But I can tell you, because before we went on air, I showed you a video of a Zionist organization. I know that they are targeting. When we mean okay, this is where we unfortunately.
Just to be clear, we do mean the people sucking Israel's dick like Ben Shapiro, regardless of what Israel does. I care about what's best for Jewish people, and there's a reason there's so many protesters against concentration camps, and there's a reason there's so many Jews who are against what Israel is doing.
Yeah, when I talk about trouble is that you know we went through the whole, you know, the far right used the term Zionist. When the far right used the term Zionist, they mean Jew, right? When I talk about Zionist, I'm talking about Israeli nationalism, okay, which is which now, you know, the original intent of Zionism was the establishment of the state of Israel, which I would have supported if I'd been alive then. There wasn't like the at the very least my recollection of things, there wasn't the hardcore Israeli nationalism yet. There was some conflict and then a lot of doubling down on both sides. What Zionism has now become is somewhat fascistic, particularly with Benjamin Netanyahu. And the...
fuck Benjamin Netanyahu. He's a terrible person who fights against democracy in Israel.
And what you have is advocacy groups who basically are ultra-Zionists, right? And I know that they are targeting Ilhan Omar, just as they did to Jeremy Corbyn here, right? There is no room for anti-Semitism. Believe me, I will not tolerate neither me or Ozma will tolerate anti-Semitism, right?
Not even for Ben Shapiro, because Ben Shapiro spouts anti-Semitic shit too.
Yeah. And, well, yes, he does, because he would call us plastic Jews because we're both left-wing and we're LGBTQ. He seems to think he's the king of the Jews who gets to arbitrate who's a Jew and who isn't. No, Ben.
Well, not just that. He obviously also, there's the support of the Proud Boys and the singing praise to concentration camps. Well, admittedly, that part isn't inherently anti-Semitic. It's just fucked up and gross.
He hasn't learned from Jewish history, has he?
Yeah, no, he hasn't.
So, but what we are saying is that there are people who seem to think that if you criticize the government of Israel, right? Because neither me or Ozma would dispute, the existence of the state of Israel. Okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I perfectly accept there needs to be a Jewish homeland. We're a persecuted bunch. And I've always said, if there's a pogrom in Britain, the only safe refuge for me is Israel. Okay? But the point I'm trying to make is that you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. I can give you a couple of examples here. Michael Gove, who's a cabinet minister, he's a cabinet secretary, sorry. He's a member of the cabinet here. He's a born-again Christian, identifies as Zionist. Tommy Robinson, who is a racist fucking football hooligan, who gets way too much attention than he fucking deserves, has identified as a Zionist. Right?
Yeah.
So, when I say Zionist, it doesn't mean the same thing when the far right say it, believe me. Because technically, if you do believe in, there should be a state of Israel, you are sort of a Zionist. It's just I do not like extreme Zionism. Right? Extremism is never good for anything. Well, anyways,
yeah, see, I view it very much in the short term, sort of like trans women and women's sports. That should be fine. And then we can, in the future, when transphobia has died down, we can talk about different ways to separate sports.
Right. Well,
same thing with Israel. At some point, I am a big fan of stateless societies not worshiping the state, but there would still be an Israeli community that would find its home.
Well, there's already a form of anarchism in Israel. The kibbutz system. So, yeah. I was actually conceived on a kibbutz. However, as I said previously, before we had technical difficulties and we had a prolonged discussion about Zionism, if Marjorie Taylor-Green does get booted out of the GOP and voted out of Congress, she can always go and work for Alex Jones. Now, this story keeps coming up again and again and again ever since January
Too much.
6th. Now, a few points I'd like to make. First of all, why aren't the FBI investigating him?
Right? I mean, they might be.
Well, I mean, the thing is, right, I've shown you that, I have previously shown you, there's a video where Jones said that Trump had basically asked him to lead the march on the Capitol building, which of course turned into a riot, right? Now, that's obviously, look, we all know Jones is a pathological liar, okay? But the thing is, the FBI should have taken that on its face value and arrested him, okay? Because he should get caught out for his lies, right? As far as I'm concerned. The thing is, he has said he helped fund the rally which turned into a riot. Okay, he has said that, right? Now, he's saying that to basically his far-right audience. Yet he is speaking out of both sides of his mouth. Because he's also saying he and Trump were set up by the Secret Service. Well, basically, the Secret Service are to blame for the January 6th insurrections, and he and Trump was set up. Okay? So that's, he is basically speaking out of both sides of his mouth. This might be because he is facing a lot of litigation at the moment, particularly from the parents of this, the families of the Sandy Hook victims for defamation, and I really hope they succeed in suing him to the point he hasn't got a pot to fucking piss in.
Yeah.
So there's, I just think he is speaking out of both sides of his mouth, and actually he's probably lying out of both sides of his mouth.
Yeah.
Now, there's a video. Oh, there was a video here. It's not working anymore. Right. Well, the other thing I was going to say, this is Media Matters. Now, this is actually what George Soros actually funds. Now, Media Matters basically holds the right-wing media, and including the far-right media, tries to hold them to account. Okay? There definitely needs to be a watchdog organisation such as this. And so I suggest that people support them along with Right Wing Watch, which is it's another organisation. So as far as I'm concerned, George Soros is a good guy. Sure, yeah. I think some of his, shall we say, trading practices haven't always been, shall we say, wholly kosher. But I think what he has tried to do with his money, particularly in the last 20 years, has been, constructive, shall we say.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's done some constructive stuff, but like most billionaires, he doesn't do anywhere near as much as he could. No,
I would definitely agree. And I mean, a lot of people will talk to you about Black Wednesday, which happened here, where basically he helped devalue the pound, speculating on the current on the currency markets. I'm not saying that he's all good. Believe me, I'm not.
Yeah.
But I do think he does do some good work.
Yeah.
Of course, now people are going to think that I'm all even more in the pay of him. Yes. It never ceases with Marjorie, does it?
No. She manages to spew so much. When you switch tabs like that, I can see it.
I know you can. I don't mind you seeing it.
Well, oh yeah. Wait.
Sorry, who's
chat?
Yeah, I'm just checking the chat. Sorry, before we move on. Sorry, I should tell people watching. Who's that guy who said sorry about the last LGBTQ rants string?
That's someone who shows up occasionally on the Fluid Voice.
Oh, right. I don't know who that is. Who is it? Do you know who they are?
No, I don't know necessarily who every person is who watches the Fluid Voice.
Right, okay. So yeah, right. So when Biden came into office on January the 20th, he lifted the ban on U.S. embassies around the world flying the LGBTQ pride flag during Pride Month. And well, Marjorie Taylor-Green, surprise, is a homophobe.
Wait, what? A homophobe, QAnon, transphobe, anti-Semite?
Yeah,
Who would have thunk it?
Well, sometimes we complain about the basically a lot of trans people not being intersectional, when bigots are fucking far more intersectional than any oppressed group they persecute.
Yeah. They go hardcore down on that solidarity.
Yeah. So, okay, let me explain why it's important for the US to be flying the LGBTQ pride flag during Pride Month in embassies around the world, because there are many countries where there are, shall we say, less progressive attitudes towards the LGBTQ community.
Russia.
Saudi Arabia. And this actually helps basically promote a progressive attitude, when it comes to the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, and I mean, it's helpful in similar ways to when Obama sent that I forgot the person Obama sent, but LGBTQ person to the Russian Olympics in his place. And so the Russia, despite all this stuff, LGBTQ stuff being illegal, didn't want to start an international incident.
I tell you, I remember when I forgot the actual place that the Winter Olympics was held, but I remember there's a BBC sports presenter called Claire Balding who's a lesbian, and she did not keep quiet. Let's just say that on air about what she thought.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her. You can't keep quiet in the face of persecution, because if you do, you let them win.
Yeah, and it's almost like there's a good poem that's horribly misused by conservative people.
Yeah, who think they're being victimized when they're not. Yeah, they misuse Martin Niemer's poem, quite a bit. As they misuse Orwell's 1984, I'd had as well. I remember when Parler got shut down, and they said, "Oh, this is 1984." I went, "How many of you have actually read 1984?" Yeah. I mean, it's like today. It's like today. I saw communism was trending on Twitter. I think there have been some sort of protests about something Biden's done. Basically, he's getting slammed as a communist now. Oh, there's a surprise. We're back to that, are we? Anything the Democrats do get slammed as communism. The thing is, most of the people who slam the Democrats for doing anything as communist, right, don't know what fucking communism is.
Yeah.
And basically, if they looked into it, they might actually like it.
I mean, maybe, unless they're chasing the capitalist dreams.
So, well, I think, wasn't it John Steinbeck said that he said that the reason socialism never took off in America is because every American thinks they're just down on their luck millionaire. Or something along those lines. So
well, I mean that but the thing is, that was a more recent thing, because socialism was a lot more popular during the Great Depression, and there's a reason it has gained a lot of popularity now, with the negative aspects of trying to force pure capitalism have reared their ugly head, and a lot of people are upset.
So, back to Marjorie. Yes, a lot of the show's content is taken up by her bullshit tonight. Uh, QAnon Congressman Marjorie Taylor-Green thinks transphobia will save America. So yeah, Georgia Congresswoman and QAnon supporter Marjorie Taylor-Green thinks America has a choice between transphobia and destruction. Marjorie Taylor-Green is widely known for expressing support for QAnon, a conspiracy theory that claims... Yeah, we've done this.
War against Satan worshipping pedophiles. Wow, yeah. I missed the Satan worshipping part.
Yeah. Does Aria know about that? Democrats are currently leading efforts to remove her from Congress, which I thought she was just getting kicked out of the GOP. So the Democrats are now planning on removing her completely from Congress.
Yeah, that might be.
Well, that explains why they're going after Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, see, the thing is, representatives can be impeached too.
Yeah, but
it just doesn't happen much. But the thing is, Marjorie Taylor-Green is a conspiracy theory spouting person who...
Yeah, funny enough, talking about removing it from Congress, I did check, and Twitter haven't removed her from their platform yet. I thought they were taking out the QAnon trash.
Well, the thing is, Twitter has a bad habit still, I think, of not wanting to take out members of Congress. So that's why they didn't do anti-QAnon stuff before, or anti whatever. They didn't do a lot to try to make the Twitter community better because they knew it would get certain Republicans off their platform.
So she's told a radio station, Atlanta, that if the Republican leadership caves into it, this is reference to her being unseated. If anyone caves into it, then the mob wins and cancel culture continues on. You can't. No, there's no such thing as cancel culture. Is bullshit. It's not like anyone's stopping you from, blabbing your fucking mouth off. I mean, you'd be on a fucking radio station.
I'm sorry. People can be canceled. There's an impeachment process. But, like that's... I mean, it's been in the legal system forever. It's not like a new thing. And that's the closest to canceling, and that's canceling your ability to fucking get in office because of shit you did.
She continued by promoting the Anti-Trans Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act.
It's always about the sports.
Oh god, here we go again. Yeah, she co-sponsored after taking office on 3rd of January. Yeah, and also she tried to introduce articles of impeachment against Joe Biden the day he took office.
Yeah, which is absurd on so many levels.
Yeah, and was DOA, so... The thing is, it was she was on Newsmax, and they were taking her seriously. And that's because Newsmax makes Fox News look moderate. In the interview, she said she was proud to support the proposed legislation. Oh, she's proud to persecute trans people. Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me.
Well, to persecute. It said it would strip funding from schools that allow trans girls and women to participate in sports. So she is proud of stripping funding to schools.
Yeah. Hold on, wasn't there something Mike Pence's wife was involved with about trying to take funding away from education establishments which had equality policies for LGBTQ people, if I remember rightly. There was something about that. Can't remember the details off the top of my head. She claimed that being inclusive of trans people and ditching tired binary gender stereotypes will destroy our country. What? Sorry?
Look, because we're LGBTQ, not only will we destroy the country with our giant space laser that definitely exists and is not a made-up conspiracy theory, but we will destroy America by existing. We are that powerful, Sophia.
They don't want conservative values because they want to convince you there's no gender. Sorry?
No, that's not the statement. It's just that it's a social construct.
Sorry,
they want to erase and attack God's creation?
Yeah, there's only one problem. God, they don't exist. But the thing about... I don't want to destroy gender. I'm quite happy for there to be genders. But there's far more than two. I can tell you that.
Well, I mean, gender is one of several descriptions people make of themselves, and it seems absurd to
they want to continue
take that away for no reason.
And they want to continue down the road of these policies and these changes that are going to destroy our country and destroy our identity and destroy who we are as a nation and tear us all up. Fuck me.
You can't destroy... Well, no. Sorry, I take that back. You can destroy someone's identity through torture.
How?
But this is not torture.
I'll tell you what's destroying America. Capitalism.
I mean, capitalism isn't doing a good job of that. Also, highly capitalist-loving Congress people.
Yeah, but that's the other absurdity about anti-Semites, right? They say all Jews are socialists, and yet they say they're all capitalists. We're all greedy capitalists. Yeah.
Oh no, we're socialists who control all the money. They don't put the two and two together that would require us to be capitalists. Accused trans women of infiltrating women's sports.
This is an interesting. This is an article worth having a look at. The insurrection-loving members of Congress who have anti-LGBT histories. Oh, jeez, that's a surprise. The extremism of Marjorie Taylor-Green, Paul Gosar, Andy Biggs, and Lauren Bobbitt. Oh, by the way, yeah, Lauren Bobbitt, yeah. Is she still denying that she gave a tour to the Capitol rioters several days before there was the riot? To help them case the joint out before they did it. Yeah, because there's been that accusation, hasn't there?
Yeah.
In the wake of the insurrection at the Capitol on January the 6th, why can't they put the TH after the 6? Certainly, sorry to become the grammar police here. I mean, I am dyslexic.
Look, it's a weird grammatical thing in some newsletters where they don't put the extra letters in front for some reason. I don't know why it is.
Certain Republican members of Congress have been getting a lot of attention for being, at a minimum, fellow travelers with the rioters. The group includes representatives in particular Marjorie Taylor-Green, Andy Biggs, Arizona, Paul Gosar, Arizona. Seems to be a lot of nutcases in Arizona as well as Georgia. And Lauren Bobbitt. who, you know, for those who don't know, Lauren Bobbitt basically wanted to take a handgun onto the floor of the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
All four have a history of hanging around with far right extremists. Excuse me. In far from the shocking revelations, the white supremacists and nationalists behind the attack on the Capitol building aren't just racists; they're also viciously opposed to LGBTQ rights. Yeah, which is kind of weird because I think I've told you this. I saw the very briefest of clips of their being drag queens involved with the Capitol riots. I am not joking. I saw 2.
That's so weird to me.
From offensive events like straight pride. Oh God, straight pride. You see, this is the thing, right? As soon as other groups get like, basically white heteronormative men have had the foot on all others for centuries. But as soon as everyone else starts to, get equality on par with them, suddenly they're fucking oppressed.
Well, the thing is, I mean, the whole reason why there are pride parades is because we are told that we should be ashamed to be ourselves.
Yeah. And let's remember...
And you're not told to be ashamed to be straight.
Yeah.
I know they say shit like that, but they never have an example.
Yeah, I mean,
they're just like, oh, we're told to be ashamed to be straight because there's some people who don't like the cis straight normative people. And it's like, yeah, that's not like the same. That's not the same as being told that your very existence shouldn't exist, that you shouldn't be in this world, that you shouldn't leave your home.
Now,
you should crawl up in a hole and die is essentially people are saying, and the fighting back against that with pride parades.
Here it is. So, as you can see, that's Marjorie Taylor-Green. That's a member of the 3%ers, who are a neo-Nazi group, who were doing security at one of her rallies.
Shock.
Yeah. So her links with the far right are very much, public. So, she can't just try and, she'll try and manipulate a way through. I mean, she said she condemned the Capitol riots. But you kind of think she's only doing that for reasons of expediency. She doesn't fucking really mean it. You know deep down she was all for it.
Yeah.
You see, here's the thing.
Condemn it if it fails, praise it if it wins.
Yeah, I mean, basically, with fascism, fascists do not like weakness, okay? And so they don't like the fact that the insurrection failed. So this is why they're saying they were set up and that it was Antifa, right? Because if it succeeded, these are good patriots, doing, upholding upholding the republic, defending the republic or whatever the fuck else, yeah. Despite the fact that what they did goes against everything America was founded upon. So, have a read of this. It's an interesting article. I do suggest. Talking of... So, Rand Paul, son of Rand Paul, do like that, Rand Paul. I just remember Southerners always going, do like that, Rand Paul.
God.
And if you, do you know it's actually Ron Paul I blame for Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Right. The whole Ron Paul presidential election campaign in 2007, 2008, it was the first time I remember essentially the far right coming together on social media and using social media, right? And okay, Ron Paul posed as a libertarian, and I will never forget Steve Shives' line on this. You know, because Ron Paul attracted a lot of young supporters, and it was like, wow, why is that? Do the youth of today want to ensure that America's fiscal future is protected, or with balanced budgets and living within our means and small government, or is it because Ron Paul wants to legalize pot?
It was more the pot thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the joke. You have to go and see the.
No, I'll never take jokes. Oh, sorry. You said go and see the Steve Shives thing.
Yeah, go and see Steve Shives' 5 Stupid Things about Ron Paul. It's a shame that he took down the 5 Stupid Things about Ann Coulter. Number 5, she's a cunt.
By the way, 6'4".
Yeah, do you know there's actually not that many trans women I know who are actually over 6 foot.
Yeah, I am 5'10". I am around the same height as 2 of my friends who are cis women.
Yeah, I'm 5'11". So I'm not 6 foot. Anyway, so yeah, Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky went on a bizarre rant about transgender girls competing in sports, calling trans girls hulking 6'4" guys during a committee hearing, and 2 other prominent Republicans joined him by attacking his transgender girls. Why do I think that despite Ron... okay, the good thing is we have a circuit breaker now in government, that being Joe Biden. So anything that Republicans try, in waging a war against the trans community, he's going to, help.
He's going to fight back.
Yeah.
He's not just going to stop it. He has shown that he is planning on following through and fighting back.
Yeah. But why do I get the feeling that the Republicans are going to try even harder? As, basically because because Biden's in the White House and he's pro-trans, they're in Congress and they're going to be anti-trans and they're going to try everything.
Well, yeah, because their policy is to be against whatever the Democrats are for, unless it involves getting rich people money, in which case both sides are very lovey-dovey about that.
And yeah, the thing is, why can't fucking conservatives go off, right? Talking about making money, right? If you start persecuting trans people, right? Trans people aren't going to be able to make money for rich people. Because that's essentially what, getting a job is. It's basically, okay, you get your wage and you're able to have a life. But essentially what you're doing is you're making money for rich people.
Well, yeah, and they want to make... The problem is rich people keep wanting to get richer and they want to keep doubling down on this, not factoring in the bubble.
Yeah. Well, look...
They can't continue to get rich forever off the backs of the poor, because once you start breaking poor people's backs, well, there's going to be a lot of anger. And sometimes people blame the wrong people.
So, yeah, well, look, Rand Paul, we know, is dick, so
Yeah.
fuck him.
Yeah. And I am far from hulking.
So, Pete Buttigieg.
Look at my giant hulking arms.
Yeah.
They're so big.
Yeah, you you're Lou Ferrigno. Yeah. You're so manly.
I know, with my soft skin, my big boobs, and my thin arms, I am the most manly you can be.
So Pete Buttigieg has been spotted as the first first out cabinet secretary. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a positive move. Yeah. The thing is, you always get these conservatives, even if they're not like, they're not like homophobic. They're sort of because there are conservatives who sort of like, people should be able to be whoever they want to be, right? But even those people sort of say, why is it important that that he's gay? Well, the fact that you have to ask that is, means you've got an issue. Why not? I mean, look, I don't think he's been hired because he's gay. You see, I've heard that. Sorry, bit of a brain fart there.
They always say that.
Yeah, they do. I mean, we've heard that about Rachel Levine, haven't we?
Yeah.
There have been conservatives who have said, Ben Shapiro. Benny. Yeah, he said that about Rachel Levine, didn't he? That's
hardcore projection, because the only reason he was hired by conservatives is because he's Jewish and he agrees with them.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Shapiro is the helpful tool for the far right so that the far right can say, we're not anti-Semitic, we like Ben Shapiro. Yeah, and the local racist down the road will tell you, I'm not a racist because I've got a mate who's black.
Yeah, it's fine. It's magic. The power of friendship fixes all arguments.
So, but I mean, Ben Shapiro literally said that Rachel Levine was the token tranny. Fuck off, Ben. Have you read anything about her? She's done a brilliant job as the medical officer for Pennsylvania in combating COVID-19. So, that's why she was hired. Okay?
Yeah, trans women have had jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure
as much as Republican policy has tried to prevent that, trans women have had jobs.
Anyways, here's who voted against his appointment. Ted Cruz, who you've said to me looks better with a beard, because this photo's out of date.
Yeah, it's weird that Ted Cruz looks better with the beard.
So here are the Republicans who voted.
Well, well, depending on the photo, he's a mix of looks better and looks absolutely ridiculous.
So I've heard of Marco Rubio, Rick Scott I've heard of.
Tom Cotton.
That's the other one I've heard of.
Actually, Marsha Blackburn sounds a little bit familiar to me too now.
And so the question is, did they vote against him because he's gay? You see, here's the hypocrisy of the Conservatives. They said, "Oh, he's only been hired as because he's gay," right? Yet, they'll vote against him because, on the basis that he's gay.
Yeah.
That's the hypocrisy. I am sure Biden did not pick Pete Buttigieg as his transport secretary because purely because he's gay, but mainly because he might be good at doing the fucking job. You know, one day I hope, you know, all this bullshit will never, you know. Right, before we move on to the next section, let me just check the chat. You can't see me and I can't see you.
Because of the manlier than me comment.
Right, okay.
I'm just like...
Well, that person's going to be removed.
Yeah.
Hold on. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'll make you moderator.
Oh, thank you.
Right, you've got the ban hammer now, okay? So you know what to do. Right.
Oh no.
What?
Oh no, my banhammer finger slipped and just the message got deleted.
Biden to direct... Now, this is important. This is actually really important. Biden to direct Justice Department to not renew contracts with private prisons. Yeah, the more private prisons there are, the more prisoners there are. Because if you run prisons for profit, you will have more prisoners because they need more prisoners to make fucking money. There are so many stories in the United States, particularly in this obviously doesn't affect state and local jails, but I've heard so many stories in the United States that basically some local community they need they need a new jail. Private contractor comes in and says, "Oh, we can build it for you for cheaper than it would be." If you built, got the government to build it, whatever. And the only trouble is they then need prisoners to go, to be incarcerated. So what happens is that judges get backhanders to send people who they'd otherwise give a slap on the wrist to jail.
Yeah.
And therefore you are perpetuating, and we all know that jails are universities of crime. Essentially, that people go into jail as relatively wet behind the ears kind of people, and they come out as hardened fucking criminals.
Well, I mean, you're kind of fucked with regards to jobs. You're kind of fucked with regards to a lot of things. So there isn't really another option, and most people are aware of how fucked they are.
See, the thing is, in this, it seems to me in America that there's far less emphasis on rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And far more, what's the word?
Punishment.
Yeah. There was another word beginning of I can't remember what it is. But
it's very punishment focused instead of rehab.
And I mean, in this country, it's the same deal. But rather than in Europe, there's more of an emphasis on rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And right. So the thing I was going to point out is that the prison population in America is last time I looked, is about 3.5 million. Right. That's larger than most of the big cities in the United States. That's actually, I think, percentage-wise, I think America sends more people to prison than any other country except maybe China.
I don't know. We fight to be number one. Okay, Sophia. We try to be number one for prison population.
USA, 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 America. Fuck yeah. This is the other thing that I think Biden needs to do is we'll get on and legalize marijuana, which was part of his platform, because if you start to decriminalize drugs, less people are going to go to prison, because the majority of people in prison are in prison due to drug offenses.
Yeah.
Right. Which is another reason why private prison contractors do not want drugs to be legalized, because there'll be fewer prisons to pack fewer people to pack their fucking prisons.
Yeah.
The other thing is I was going to bring up right now, because you brought it up. You said there hasn't been much movement about the ICE detention camps.
Biden has made policy, but the ICE detention camps haven't been cooperating and have been trying to do stuff as usual, including illegally deporting people.
Well, I was going to say, can you explain to people outside the United States what all that ICE is?
So the ICE is an organization started by Obama that is a new organization with relating to immigration. Their immigration something enforcement. And the problem is they've taken people who are considered to be illegal immigrants or whatever and put them in camps. And these camps are not well maintained, and there are a lot of racists in the ICE. And Trump had done a lot of policies to make a bad situation worse. There's been no real improvement despite the investigations by Internal Affairs to the ICE camps. There is torture, there is rotting food, there are people just shoved into too close quarters. There have been COVID-19 outbreaks, there have been mass hysterectomies. The ICE camps are acting the ICE is acting like a couple branches of the Nazi party in Germany. There's a reason the concentration camps are, because that's what those detention facilities are. They are concentration camps.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that so many Jewish people, especially Reformed Jewish people who remember all we learned in synagogue about the Holocaust, are protesting these and occasionally getting run over by ICE vehicles or harmed in other such ways.
Except
by the ICE.
Except Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, well, Ben Shapiro forgot the whole aspect of, respecting visitors, which is something, you're supposed to do.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say he's a capo cunt, and
yeah,
Christy and Kevin are wrong. His yarmulke isn't getting larger. His head is shrinking from all the shit which comes out of his mouth.
Yeah. It's a good dieting regimen, but I prefer to keep my head the size it is.
All the shit it spews out pollutes the fucking atmosphere.
That too.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
So the other thing he has done is that he suspended arms sales to Saudi Arabia, which now is going to put pressure on the British government to also follow suit. Though I doubt it, because if there's one, people who remember when Britain had a bigger manufacturing base, basically everyone's always mourning the decline of Britain's industrial base. But there's one section of the manufacturing base left, which is doing very well for itself. It's the arms trade. Yes, yeah. Britain just can't stop selling arms to just about every repugnant despot around the world.
And when has Britain ever learned that sometimes it's bad to focus on what you think is best for Britain and not follow suit? I wonder if there's a policy in which Britain could have worked together with other countries on a diplomatic way that genuinely helped Britain out in the long run.
Well,
that Britain decided to say, no, we're going to be Britain. That's the important thing. We need to do British stuff.
Well, I never forget this. 10 years ago, when basically there was the uprising in Libya to oust Colonel Gaddafi, David Cameron was on who was then the British Prime Minister, was on a trade. He was on a tour around the Middle East. Supposed trade mission.
Yeah.
But essentially, what it was he was selling arms to various despots whilst condemning Colonel Gaddafi. Hold on. So essentially, what Cameron was he was selling arms to despots who had just as bad human rights records as Colonel Gaddafi. Yet he was saying Colonel Gaddafi had to go. The thing is, it reminds me of the Harry Truman line. He might be a son of a bitch, but he's our son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah? And that's the deal. Yeah. As long as you buy arms from Britain, hey, you're okay. Yeah, go on. Yeah. Go and persecute that minority. Yeah, throw those democratic activists in jail. Yeah. Don't worry. We'll sell you the arms and the equipment to do so. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, actually, one thing that Jeremy Corbyn was successful at when he was Labour leader, he managed to prevent the Tory government. I can't believe this. The Tory government were going to give a contract to basically, we're going to help enable a British construction company, right, to get a contract in Saudi Arabia to build prisons there. And you know the kind of people the Saudis are going to throw in prison, right? They're not going to be your typical criminals. No, they're going to be people who basically just want to live their lives like we do, but can't because of the oppressive regime there.
You see, the thing is,
and
I don't even have like an even funny joke argument. Like the United States funded Osama bin Laden.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's people forget that. But some people have that's fake news. No, it's fucking not. I remember the Mujahideen taking on the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan, and Osama bin Laden was part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Osama bin Laden.
They helped fund and train Osama bin Laden. Britain helped train Colonel Gaddafi. He actually trained at Sandhurst. They also trained Idi Amin, who's another historical despot. He was a despot in Uganda. I could go on and on and on. They provided arms. They sold fucking arms to fucking Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, so this actually, it relates to 1984, the constant war.
Yeah, the perpetual war theory. Now, you know, we know that why basically Britain and other countries sell arms to Middle Eastern despots, because that's where the oil fields are. Okay.
Yeah. And Biden has the slightest sense of the future of where roads are going, and because he wants to fight for climate change, he feels a lot more comfortable to make these political positions. I'm not saying that he's doing it because he cares. I'm saying that him genuinely wanting to move America towards less pollutants is actually affecting his policies.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get
in a good way.
You get all these fucking right wingers who go, oh, you know, climate change is bullshit. Well, it's not. You know, it's always. I mean, it's the same with the whole fucking COVID thing. You know, you get these people who say COVID is a hoax, as if they're fucking, you know, esteemed epidemiologists. They seem to think they know better than the fucking experts. And it's the same with climate change. You get all these people say, oh, it's a fucking hoax. You know, despite the fact that 98% of climatologists agree that it's happening.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not the only reason we should go for renewable energy. Okay? The other reason is to stop there being endless fucking wars in the Middle East and us propping up fucking repugnant despots who have no respect for human rights.
Yeah, now we'll do it for different reasons in South America and the Middle East. We'll do it because to help the CIA, will do it to help propel the anti-socialist thing.
You see, I remember when 9/11. I remember when 9/11 happened, right? And you had all these Americans. Oh, yeah, look at us, you know. Oh, you know, this is really bad. Okay, all right. Yeah, 9/11 was out of fucking order. I'm not denying that. Okay.
Yeah.
I am not denying that. But fucking Americans boo-hooing about how, you know, they're being attacked. There was another there's another 9/11. September the 11th, 1973, when a CIA-backed coup in Chile put General Pinochet in charge of a military, he was a head of a, you know, put him in charge of a head of a military junta, which killed tens of thousands of people. Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, you kind of think, the thing is, and this is what a lot of right-wingers do not want to hear, right? 9/11 was a consequence of US foreign policy.
Yeah, and you know, it was Bin Laden's second attempt.
Yeah.
He got better at the second attempt, although the policies and the thoughts, I mean, there's a reason there was a movie that essentially theorized about it, something similar happening. It's because it's not like there weren't suicide bombings happening during 9/11. It's just it wasn't happening here in the US. Well, here for me.
Anyways, moving on. So, Trump's impeachment lawyer, well, I think it's 5 lawyers he had been employing have quit because Trump demanded that they repeat the election fraud claims, which I think technically would be perjury, wouldn't it? If it could be. I don't know the technicality, so we haven't got perfect here. I think if they... I know that basically, because you know Giuliani and Sidney Powell were going on about election fraud outside the courts.
Yeah.
Right? But when it got into the actual courtroom, right, that's not what they were saying. Why?
Yep.
Because they would be in contempt. So not perjury, brain fart, it would be contempt. Now,
well, they'd be lying under oath.
Yeah, that is perjury, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Sorry, I'm not clued
I'm
up.
terrible with law.
Yeah, well, anyways, it basically they would. I know that they definitely would be held in contempt. Also, I think it might be perjury as well. So my understanding is that if you do that you can be done for perjury for lying to a senatorial committee. I think that's the case. So no wonder.
Well, if you take an oath that you're saying the truth in a legal proceeding, you are committing some form of perjury or some similar law.
Yeah.
That you're breaking.
So they've quit. I wonder also if it's because Donald Trump is not paying them, because you know that he refused to pay Giuliani's bill.
He refuses to pay every bill
because he can't afford to. That's the truth.
And he's living off of election money.
Yeah, that's the hilarious thing about it. But basically, they are sending out all these emails begging for money to the MAGA cult, and if you read the small print at the bottom, it said that this money might not be used in legal challenges to the election. Yeah. That's what she actually said. So basically, I think someone said he's managed to raise about 200 million. Essentially, Trump is a con man. That's what he is.
Yeah.
So they basically lawyers have quit on him because he wanted them to repeat the election fraud case. Talking of election fraud, this is funny. Lynn Wood, who has been one of the loudest proponents of that there was electoral fraud, could be investigated for possible voter fraud in Georgia.
Wait, are you saying that someone who lies might be projecting aspects of their real life through their lies?
Yeah. Wood, who claimed that the presidential election was stolen, told an Atlanta-based reporter that he has lived in South Carolina for several months. Right, so Lynn Wood, one of the loudest defenders of former President Donald Trump's baseless attempts to overturn the election defeat, is under investigation by Georgia officials for potential voter fraud. The Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger.
Brad Raffensperger?
Yes, Raffensperg. Office confirmed the investigation to NBC News in a statement Tuesday. Afterward, a lawyer in Atlanta claimed in a separate news report about the possibility that his law license could be revoked, that he had been living in South Carolina for several months. The question is whether he has a legal residence when he voted in November, in light of an email he sent to some reporter. Justin Gray says that he's been domiciled in South Carolina for several months. So in other words, he voted in Georgia, I think he's a resident in South Carolina.
Yeah, so you have to live in the state that you vote in for like a while or whatever.
Yeah. So it looks like Lynn Wood, the guy who said that Trump was cheated out of an election victory due to voter fraud, has actually committed voter fraud himself.
Possibly.
Projection, anybody?
Yeah.
He does protest too much? Yeah, I think so. So, I'm not. There is another article which I know Kevin and Christy have gone over. I think it's on a site called Axios. About there was like literally one of the maddest meetings I think a lot of White House staff have said there's ever been, between Trump, Sidney Powell, and another person, about his challenges to the election results. And a part of that is that Trump started wading in on Sidney Powell for, well, her spelling mistakes in the lawsuit submitted to the courts, because she couldn't even spell fucking district properly.
Yeah.
And we're still, by the way, Sydney, we're still waiting for the Kraken. Where's the Kraken? Yeah. Thought you were going to release the Kraken.
Look, don't worry. It's going to happen for a while. It's just going to take a little bit longer. I mean, they need to find Davy Jones. Davy Jones has walked out on them.
Well, basically, Trump sat behind his resolute desk in the Oval Office on December the 18th, watching Powell, a conspiracy theorist and attorney, get into a screaming match with White House advisors over legal efforts to overturn. This is the Axios report. It's a very long, detailed report. As I said, go and check out Kevin Logan's channel and the Kevin and Christy Happy Hour. They went through it else. The heated exchange took place days after states formally certified the results, and more than a month after Joe Biden projected to win the election. Hold on, let me just see what the bit about Powell is. Powell defended herself and was joined by Michael Flynn, Trump's former national security advisor, and Patrick Byrne, the former CEO of Overstock.com. Axios reported. The groups argued that Trump's aides were focusing on minor details and moving away from the main issue, how to win the election fight. But Trump joined Lyons, ridiculing Powell over her errors. Hold on, right, okay. So, Sidney Powell, right, was wanting to help Trump. Yet Trump is being a bastard towards her.
Yeah, because Trump is an egotistical cunt.
Yeah, he's a narcissist. Yeah, he's a narcissist and an egotist. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I don't want to backseat diagnose people, and obviously they're. I don't want to shame people for psychological conditions because obviously they're. That's why I just switched to egotistical cunt.
Well, here's the thing. Of course, Powell is facing a 1.3 billion lawsuit from Dominion, the voting machine company, for all the shit she's been spouting. Me gets to think that's probably going to be settled outside court.
Yeah.
But it would be fun to see some of these some of these crackpots who have been spouting off about how the election was rigged, blah 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 blah. Get in the witness box, and see if they've still got the balls to actually carry on spouting all that bullshit about how there was election fraud and rigged.
Most of them wouldn't, but
no, because
obviously the Jewish space laser woman would.
I mean, the other thing is about the yeah. So, anyways, we'll get on to what I was about to say in a minute. So, yeah. Oh no, hold on. That's for later. We'll put that. There. For the time being. So Trump's new lawyers, never mind about Sidney Powell and her typos. Trump's new lawyers can't spell United States in their opening lines of the impeachment response.
That's
fucking embarrassing.
That's impressively bad, especially because you're going to find it on every legal document, just about.
Here's the other thing, right? Because you've had Giuliani basically. I don't know where he got these people to give testimony. So basically, I think in Michigan and Wisconsin, when there were legislative committees on the election results and any challenges to them, basically Giuliani just seemed to drag every fucking nutcase there was in, who would agree to basically give evidence in. And I just remember one of these women, and you remember her as well. There was this woman, and I actually think Giuliani just went into a bar and said, "Hey, here's $50 for anyone who's prepared to give evidence, to say there was election fraud," because she was drunk. You know the one who was chewing gum, and she was drunk. I don't think he picked up her at a bar. And then there was that black woman who wouldn't give evidence unless she was wearing her big cowboy hat. That was another one I remember.
Impressive.
I just want somebody. I just want some of these people to be held in front of the Senate impeachment hearings. It would be hilarious. I didn't actually hear that the QAnon shaman said that he would like to give evidence to the impeachment hearings, because of course he's now disavowed Trump. Obviously, he's only disavowing Trump so so he could get his ass out of jail. I saw a report. I haven't put it in today, but the lawyer for the QAnon shaman has said that his health is deteriorating in jail because he's not getting organic food.
Yeah, because he's apparently a vegan.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, I don't know whether I look on. I don't know where to sort of. The thing is, look, you go to prison. I mean, okay, he's on what we would call remand at the moment. He hasn't been found guilty, right? But obviously, he's been seen as a possible danger to society, which is why he's been detained on. What do you call remand in America? When you held before trial.
Oh, put on. Fuck. I'm terrible with words. Legal stuff is like what I'm worst at.
Oh.
I should watch Legal Eagle more. When someone is tried.
No. When they're held before trial.
Oh, and they're held before trial.
We call it remand here.
Is there a special word? Fuck. Detention.
Yeah. Well, anyways, he's seen as he's seen as, this is a difficult one. On one hand, I kind of feel, look, if he's a vegan, people have the right to be a vegan. I mean, if he was Jewish, he would get, kosher food, okay?
Yeah.
If he was Muslim, he'd get halal food. So, okay.
Well, except certain areas that...
Oh, yeah, Gitmo, of course.
That don't follow procedure. Well, I mean, part of the reason why Guantanamo Bay can get away with that, or at the very least has gotten away with that more in the past, is because it's not directly in the country, so it's not subject to, United States laws. It's basically a little separate thing that.
Yeah, that's yeah, I know that. But what I'm trying to say here is, on one hand, the guy, he's obviously guilty. I mean, there's fucking video of him, so he's going to have, you know. I do believe in rehabilitation, but at the same time, I do think, you know, people should be, you know, there should be some measure of punishment. So I don't know where to draw the line here. I kind of feel.
Well, I think, see, this is where I tend to want to go all in with rehabilitation, because I think there are genuine issues that need to be addressed, and I think punishment just, it's punishing enough to have to go through a rehabilitative program in an isolated area. Like, I think trying to actually help people and slowly move towards integrating them back into society is.
Well, I was going to say. I just remembered that word. Instead of punishment, retribution. That's what I meant. You know, whereas in you know, this side of the Atlantic, particularly in Europe, there's an emphasis on rehabilitation. In America, it just seems a far more emphasis on retribution. But you see, yeah, okay. If he's an ethical vegan, then I think he should be entitled to vegan food. But you know, the thing is, you know, there's a part of me that thinks, hey, dude, you did break the law. You knew you were breaking the law, you know? You know, what the fuck do you expect? There is part of me that thinks that. Yes. Now, okay, to explain this to you. So, this is Innocent Smoothies. They're like one of those sort of. There are a few companies like this in this country. Basically, they're a bunch of hippies who make fruit and vegetable smoothies, right? Anyways, they put out this statement on, I think it was Tuesday. Over the years, we've followed a lot of people on here, and this is referring to Twitter. And we've unfollowed some too. The other day, we unfollowed a Twitter account because content on their feed about trans people wasn't in line with our values of inclusivity and respect. This made some people on Twitter quite cross. We've still got work to do, but we believe that everyone should be protected from discrimination. We continue to make sure that our social media channels remain fair and inclusive. It's on all of us to make sure everyone can live happy, free lives, and we will keep working towards a world where that's a reality. Now, that's good to hear. As I said, they're a pretty hippie company. But of course, you know, I can remember the days when there used to be boycotts because various companies used to set up in nations which had very dodgy human rights records.
Yeah.
Right? I can remember boycotting many companies who traded in apartheid South Africa, for instance.
Yeah.
But now it seems that if people promote equality and social justice, then people are now going to boycott. It's really fucked up. So yeah, smoothie company Innocent Drinks have clarified that it supports transgender people not being discriminated against after reportedly unfollowing a pensioner who shared an anti-trans content. So
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Oh God.
What?
Just the name Ravi hashtag I stand with J.K. Rowling. That's
Yeah. So
cringe. It's monumentous cringe.
So basically, yeah, transgenderism is an ideology. That's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, by the way, because it's based on the whole cultural Marxist bullshit conspiracy,
which is based off of which is a Jewish Bolshevism is the thing that cultural Marxism is basically the same as.
Well, I would imagine the LGBT Alliance will be leading the chart, leading the calls to boycott Innocence movies. The one complaint I have about Innocence movies is they're fucking expensive, and for some reason, all those movies seem to have many of them seem to have flax seeds in, which I can't drink.
Oh,
I've got intolerance to them.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, but I like the company. I've seen a documentary on them. They're just basically a bunch of hippies. Now, there's, as I said, you have companies like Innocent, and you also have companies like Lush. Now, Lush are very political. Actually, they supported Jeremy Corbyn. They sell like sort of homemade soaps. You always see their shops like at train stations, and they do some lovely stuff. I've bought them. Again, they're not cheap, right? But I do like the stuff they sell. Well, obviously, like Innocent, they have an inclusive policy, and well, this has fucked off the far right. Just watch this.
Nice one. How about scabies? Do you do scabies?
Yeah. What about, I support the IRA, I hate my own people and my own country, I absolutely hate them and I want them all. I want Britain to be abolished. Am I allowed in? Am I allowed in?
I believe it. What's saying that for?
What the hell?
I support I support the IRA, I hate Britain, I can't wait for my country to be completely overrun with multiculturalism, mass immigration. Am I allowed in your shop?
Got a problem oh fuck, this is the hardcore British.
This has got to be the weirdest shop in all of human history.
I think it's a silent order.
It's not that weird.
We're not allowed to speak.
What about white people? I absolutely hate white people. I think they're the source of all the world's problems, you know, like...
Yeah, I mean, they're dropping the usual far-right tropes, but the thing is, they don't like the fact that they're inclusive.
Yeah, and it had a snarky, funny joke that they just couldn't deal with, so they tried their angry, quote-unquote, attempts at humor, which were poorly thought out. It's a funny snarky comment about don't enter the shop and spread the goddamn COVID, and also don't spread racism and transphobia. Don't worry about that too much.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, you do have these companies, and they are pushing an inclusive, in policies, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and the far right hate them, and TERFs have complained about these signs which, Lush have posted up.
It's essentially, don't be an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be a dick.
don't spread a disease. Oh,
Oh, look, it's you in makeup.
no, bad. I look prettier than Marilyn Manson ever could. I just happen to have a similar hairstyle. It's not my fault that Marilyn Manson has a sense of fashion, despite the fact that he's an asshole.
So, to fill the people in who might not know, Marilyn Manson, there's been sexual abuse allegations against him.
Yeah.
And he's been dropped by his record company and ostracized by just about everybody. And, well, there's been allegations before, as you see here. Stylist Love Bailey has accused Marilyn Manson of holding a gun to her head and telling her he doesn't like, I'm not going to say that word,
the F slur and not the fucking fun fuck one.
Yeah. Love Bailey, a fashion stylist. I have to say, I love that name, Love Bailey. A fashion stylist and filmmaker, originally made these claims against Manson via social media in 2017, but repeated them again in an Instagram video on Tuesday, 2nd February, amid multiple allegations against the singer.
See, this is the closest thing to actual cancel culture in that it's a bunch of people mentioning that this person is an abusive asshole and you probably shouldn't support a horrible person.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, yet again, right, there have been people, people who have said that, he's a sexual, he's being a sexual abuser.
Yeah.
They've been saying this, sorry, brain fart. Okay.
People have been saying this for a while.
Well, some people have, and I'm sure that they've been shouted down saying, "Oh, you're just jealous of him," right? I told you the story about Jimmy Savile, who was a TV personality, radio and TV personality here. Anyways, when he died, it started emerging. I mean, look, I'll say this about Jimmy Savile. There were rumours, for many years, right? But nothing was proven. And basically, it's the one person came forward, and there was a documentary made. And I remember the relatives of Jimmy Savile basically said, "Oh, this person's just jealous of him," or whatever else. And then, because of that documentary being made, a whole slew of people, sorry, that's the wrong word to use, there was a good number of people who came forward and said he also abused us. And it turned out, I think it was more than 200 people, children and young people he had abused. He had used, his position to abuse them. And funny enough, one of the people he abused them with was Gary Glitter, who probably will never see an outside of a prison again. And rightfully so, in my opinion. The funny thing is, I actually met Jimmy Savile twice when I was a kid. Lucky enough, he didn't try it on with me. But it was.
That's lucky.
It was a public place, and he was. I remember the first time he was being cocky as anything, but the second time he was in a really bad mood. I remember that. But anyways, the thing is, you get these people who come forward. They get basically mocked and ridiculed and basically told to fuck off, and yet they're proven right. And I kind of feel we should be a little bit more sensitive about this. Yeah. I'm not saying that there aren't some cranks who will come forward and say of some star, I mean, there was there have been cases of people coming forward and making spurious allegations against celebrities which have turned out to be untrue.
Or just anyone. This is why I think people should be believed more, but I do think that you should look into stuff because there are abusers out there who will always claim to be victims and have laundry lists of people they've hurt.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say about Marilyn Manson is that when I came out, if you see any photos of me when I came out, I used to look a lot more gothy, right? Because, to be honest, as any trans woman will tell you, who's, looking like a goth makes it slightly easier to pass, funny enough. And I do remember someone saying to me, "Oh, do you like Marilyn Manson?" I just thought, why are you asking me about Marilyn Manson? Because he's some bloke who wears makeup. I'm not a bloke who wears makeup, okay? I'm a woman who wears makeup. Thank you very much. I did
my lovely glove.
What?
Sorry, you're talking about goth stuff, and it made me think of this glove. Even this glove right here.
Oh right.
Sorry, people can't see it. It's a nice glove.
All right. I did buy one Marilyn Manson album back in the 90s. I think it was Mechanical Animals, and I just thought he's trying to be David Bowie, but he doesn't have. He has a fraction of the talent. So
harsh. Although David Bowie has a few bad songs.
Well,
don't get me started on China Girl.
Do you know that was originally an Iggy Pop song?
That doesn't make it better.
Yes, it does. Iggy is God. Okay? If there's a God, it's Iggy Pop.
Yeah, but that's got like the stereotypical China, the stereotypical like. Oh, there's so much wrong with China Girl. I'm sorry. Like,
you don't like China Girl? What, the David Bowie version? That's got Stevie Ray Vaughan playing guitar on it.
I'm sorry. Like, there is, like,
This is a serious fucking issue. You don't like David Bowie's China Girl? Yeah,
because of all the weird stereotypical some of the racist elements in the music, some of the cringe worthy dialogue. Yeah, no, I don't like that song.
Burn her at the stake. She is a heretic.
But why burn me? You need to get. That's what the laser's for, isn't it?
Right. Well, this tells us something we already knew.
Wait, what? Puberty blockers make trans kids happier? Shock.
The majority of transgender teenagers who take puberty blockers to treat severe gender dysphoria feel happier. A long-term awaited study of patients at NHS Gender Identity Development Service has confirmed. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I had pretty severe gender dysphoria, and
so did I. Yeah. And I had to go through fucking male puberty, and it was fucking awful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was my first and poor suicide attempt. Everything else has been plans and second guesses.
The thing is, right, again and again and again and again, science backs up what we are saying, right?
Yeah.
So, and yet, fucking governments listen to fucking TERFs.
Yeah.
Fucking TERFs say it's, puberty blockers is child abuse. I kind of think it's child abuse making kids go through a puberty they don't want to go through.
Yeah, well, if you have the information and you know what is causing distress amongst your child, then actively fighting against the child from getting puberty blockers, I would argue, is child abuse.
Yes.
In just about every definition.
Yeah. Of course, the TERFs they had a bit of a news coup before Christmas with the whole Kira Bell case. Yes, Kira Bell seems to have regretted it, but it's funny. And I suggest people go to Kevin Logan's channel and search out the video me and Kevin did on it. I know that Ozma's seen it. Basically, I said in it, Kira Bell's experience is not the average experience, and less than 2% of people who transition regret transitioning. Right?
Yeah.
And thing is, when I went through that video with Kevin, it was obvious to me that Kira Bell had been their mind had been fed by fucking TERF propaganda bullshit.
Well, yeah,
and of course it was a coup for fucking TERFs. I doubt this is going to get the publicity that fucking case did, because it proves,
and the thing is that the TERFs went after kids getting blockers, and then they immediately went after trans people getting hormones at all. If you're like under 25 and with the NHS wait times of years, they don't want you to transition until you're 40 or something, if at all. And then
this is
and they fought for conversion therapy for trans people. And you know what? If they won that, they would go after legalizing gay conversion therapy, because they are bigoted fuckwads.
Well, the Tory government have been saying for almost 3 years now they would ban conversion therapy, right? Fucking Virginia and New Mexico, not states known for radical progressive thinking, have banned conversion therapy. Why can't we? It's not exactly difficult. Fucking hell.
Well, Britain apparently is trying to one-up the US on being anti-LGBT, and it's strange.
Yeah.
We haven't had competition this harsh for a while, but Britain is trying to be the worst.
Well, there's Poland.
Oh.
Right, so this is I have to show this story before we get on to the more current story to explain. So basically, oh, hold on, wrong story. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to search out another brain fart of mine. Hold on, just hang on a moment. Let me just put you back there.
So, back to World of Warcraft Classic to scare away any potential people who wanted to view more. So, what I forgot what I said last, and actually I don't care that enough to say more. I take that back. I don't really know what I want to say about World of Warcraft Classic. So, instead, let's talk about the AOC came out about the sexual assault stuff recently. I mean, it's not LGBTQ related, and that's what I assume. That it's not something that would normally be talked about in news, but yeah.
Right. Back. So, a few months ago, Boys magazine, which is a gay magazine, got caught. Well, they didn't get caught. They basically were promoting the. They're not. The LGBT Alliance aren't just anti-trans. I really wish they would stop referring to them as anti-trans. I get the the LGBT Alliance, drop the T and all that, but they don't support fucking gay marriage. Most of the members are either Christian fundamentalists or out and out fucking neo-Nazis. So basically, there was a backlash against Boys Magazine for promoting the LGBT Alliance. Okay. And that the editor, said they were very sorry and whatever else. And they then appointed a trans editor for trans issues, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to. Does this?
Yeah.
Well, she's.
Process, I mean.
So the trans editor is now now resigned, Talon de Havilland, because it's emerged that the editor has links with the LGBT Alliance.
What? So a magazine spouting hate has links to hate groups?
Yeah.
Shock.
So it really doesn't surprise me, considering what happened. The thing is, though, it's not just Boys Magazine which has been promoting the LGBT Alliance. Oh no, I think I mentioned this to you. Right. So about a week before the Kira Bell case, this was in the news, right? Trans teen in legal action over gender identity clinic wait. Basically, challenging the NHS over having to wait for fucking ever to get an appointment for gender reassignment treatment. See, this got less publicity than the Kira Bell case. Funny that. And if I can find it, well, here we are. Bev Jackson for the LGBT Alliance, a self-funded lobby group, said, "We don't think children should be allowed to self-diagnose any medical condition. The numbers of referrals are so huge that I believe this is a social problem caused by miseducation." I think you're miseducated,
Yeah, because the BBC thought, you know what?
Yeah, right.
LGBT Alliance. Let's talk with them. Let's promote hate groups on national funded television.
Well, here's the thing, right? Rather than actually going to a trans support group such as Mermaids, oh no, they go to an anti-LGBT hate group, right?
Yeah.
That's like writing an article about Jews and asking a quote from the fucking National Front.
Yeah. Or Ben Shapiro. No, I'm just kidding. No, it'd be like asking from the just one of the Nazis that were online. Fuck, I can't think of names, but whatever.
Yeah. So, as I said, the LGBT Alliance is insidious in how in sinking its fangs into all sorts of all parts of the media. It seems,
Yeah.
Right. Now you changed my mind on this, because I remember when I first mentioned it to you, I sort of said, "Oh, I think this is a bit of a non-story," but of course, because I really don't get fed up with all these fucking stories about celebrities, so celebrity is now going out with some person, or a celebrity is like taking a walk up the street to buy a pint of milk in the local grocery stores. You know, it's just like, well, so fucking what? However, this obviously, I think, the more trans visibility there is, the better. The more trans people talk about, you know, gender dysphoria, the better. Yeah. Okay? So
and just knowing that you're not alone, and the more public the person is, the less likely some person, because we're not taught this in schools, so the more likely some person sees that and just being like, I can relate to that, whether or not they have gender dysphoria, I can relate to that.
Yeah. Well, someone. So you know, it is odd. I would imagine, you know, from what I can't say where I know this from, but I do know they are fully trans, right? What I mean by that is they do want to transition fully. Okay?
Yeah.
And they seem to be doing it now. And I applaud them for doing it, right?
Yeah.
Sure, they've got an awful lot of privilege that many of us don't have, granted. I also don't agree with them about J.K. Rowling. I mean, they say they don't think it's a trans.
I can't remember if they changed their opinion on that. They may have retracted.
However, someone really isn't happy with Eddie Izzard. Yes, India True Scum Willoughby. India Willoughby, we talk about Blair White, we talk about Rose of Dawn, but India Willoughby is the ultimate True Scum bigot because she is so fucking insecure.
Yeah.
To give you an example of this, she took part in the last series there ever was of Celebrity Big Brother. Now, the deal was that it was to celebrate 100 years since women got the vote. So this is 2018, right? So basically, for the first week, they had only women in the house, right? And yes, India was counted as a woman, which is a good thing. Of course, she is a woman.
Yeah.
I will always defend India against transphobia, even though she spouts transphobia, as you're about to hear. Because I am not going to stoop as low as she does, right? Someone did actually.
Well, I mean, it's hard. She manages to go below sea level with her shit, so.
Yeah. Now, basically, after the first week in the Celebrity Big Brother house, they sent the men in, right? And one of the men who went in was an Australian drag act called Courtney Act. The first thing India did was walk up to them and say, I'm drag phobic. That's like walking up to a black person and saying, I don't like N-words. Okay?
Well, or I'm racist and proud.
Now, the thing is, there's plenty of Americans in the deep South who are proud to be racist and fly the Confederate flag to, you know.
Well, no, they don't call themselves racist though, because racist would make them the bad guys. They're not racist. They just call black people the N-word and think that they should have less rights.
Right.
That black people should have less rights.
Now, I've had my clashes with India personally, okay? I was actually introduced to India by Caroline Cosy, and this is before she was in Celebrity Big Brother, a while before, actually. In fact, Caroline told me she was going to be on Celebrity Big Brother about 8 months before she actually was. And I could see that India was saying certain stuff, and I said to India, I said, look, her and Kelly Maloney have transitioned later in life. They're both conservatives, and they seem to think they can continue spouting conservative bullshit around trans circles. I said, look, I grew up with the trans community, okay? The first time I started to have interactions with the trans community, I was in my early 20s, okay? So we're talking a long time here, right? So I know something. And I said, you've waltzed in with your conservative views, with no knowledge of the sensitivities of the trans community. Well, India turned around and told me to stop patronising her. I was trying to fucking help her, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, the next time was on Twitter. Basically, she was blabbing on about, you're not a true trans woman unless you have surgery. And I said to her, India, despite very much wanting surgery, I can't have surgery due to medical problems. And she said, what are those medical problems? She wanted me to detail my medical history on a public forum to justify myself to her.
Yeah,
as a
which
trans
is
woman.
bullshit.
Now, this interview must hold the record for the most number of true scum and transphobic tropes. It's a very short interview, but believe me, she drops more transphobic tropes in this interview than even the most hardened turf would drop. Have a listen.
Sunday, J.K. Rowling isn't transphobic, says Eddie Izzard.
Oh my God, what an absolute dog's breakfast trans has become. I don't really know where to start here, Kev. First of all, I'll say this, hell will freeze over before I, as a trans person, actually call Eddie Izzard she or her, because he's a he. What does it say on Eddie?
Right, that's the first transphobic and true scum trope. Oh shit, I should explain to the audience what true scum is. Right, true scum originally meant trans medicalist. Basically a trans person who thinks that you're not trans unless you have gender dysphoria, you're on hormones and you get surgery, okay?
Or are preparing to get surgery.
Yeah.
Or if you're Blair White, if you just think if you're pretty enough, then you count.
Yeah, I was about to say, these days the definition is sort of expanded to basically mean those trans people who basically piss on other trans people for not being trans enough. And Indy Willoughby does so well, unfortunately.
His passport,
Yeah.
on his gas bill, on his driving.
You don't know what pronouns and what gender is on their passport or gas bill or what the fuck ever, do you, India? Unless you're rifling through their fucking dustbins or something.
Well, it's sort of like the transphobes who go onto my Twitch, especially, and talk about. They start saying stuff about me having like a dick or whatnot. I'm like, from the waist up. They have secret cameras.
Yeah.
License. He's a he. He hasn't transitioned, and this.
There's another. That is a true scum trope. It's saying they're not trans enough.
Yeah.
They don't look the part. That's a very Blair White type,
This is
Blair
the whole
White's big into
problem
looks.
with the word trans in speech marks at the moment. You have transvestites.
Right. Two things there. First of all, that's another true scum trope that the trans, the trans umbrella is too wide, and the use of the word transvestite.
Was this the 1900s?
Yeah,
the early 1900s. Like the fuck.
Who the fuck uses the term transvestite now?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, that's such an old-fashioned term. It's nobody uses that. Well, sorry, no one except these people use that because they want to bring stuff back to the Great Depression in terms of terminology.
Alongside trans transitioners, I call them, people who actually physically transition and permanently move to one side.
Oh, right, so you're a real trans woman. Who the fuck are you to decide who's trans and not, India? Who the fuck are you to be the arbiter of trans?
It's fine. I'm pretty enough that sometimes I get referred to as a true trans person by these people. I think that maybe that's why they block me, because they don't know how to deal with my arguments, and they don't know.
Talking about blocking, my friend Vicky Gooding, right? Oh, I shouldn't have said it. My friend Vicky, she's like the least offensive person I know, and India blocks her on Twitter. She's never said boo to India, and India's blocked her.
Yeah.
Jealousy.
Sorry?
Jealousy, I say.
That life with no fuss. They don't go through life waving a banner or holding a placard or have rainbow hair. They just get...
Oh, right, okay. Two other things. First of all, it's people like me, India, who have stood out in the snow with placards protesting transphobia and protesting for better trans rights, which you benefit from, my darling. I have been to Parliament with lobbying MPs when I've had a banging fucking migraine. Yeah. And as for rainbow hair, what's the problem with having rainbow hair? You judgmental true scum cunt.
on with their life. And unfortunately, because you have this motley crew of all sorts together, trans people, real trans people...
there again, now about real trans people. Who the fuck are you to decide, India? You know...
I still think it's funny that during this conversation, I don't think she ever refers to herself as a trans woman.
Well, I did hear a rumour she was trying to pass herself off as cis, which I thought was... Yeah, the Turks are going to like that one, aren't they?
Face a really hard time. So I do not think that Eddie Izzard is brave or pioneering. I think he's extremely selfish. I think he's indulging in his own fantasy.
Right. That's that she's actually saying shit which TERFs say.
Well, not just
indulging
that.
in their own fantasy. That is something which TERFs say about trans women.
Yeah, and also it's what TERFs try to... It's part of the fucking shitty study that has not been accepted by the general psychological community because it's bullshit. But there's a shitty study that they are referencing when they talk about it just being a fantasy. The fucking autogynephilia guy.
Yeah.
Of what it is. If Eddie wants to be a woman, then he should transition.
According to who?
Well,
yet again.
Also, she might be transitioning. That's the funny thing.
You don't fucking know that, India. And the thing is, yet again, who the fuck are you to decide? Yeah, this is... As I said, this must hold the record for the most number of true scum and transphobic tropes I've heard in, less than 5 minutes.
And Eddie, the other thing I will say, if Eddie's actually listening, which I guess he could be...
Why the fuck would he want to listen to a true scum transphobic cunt like you?
Is, Eddie, you don't actually speak for people like me. You're a transvestite, so I'm sure you don't get offended by...
Who does speak for you, India? Donald Trump?
Blair White.
No, actually, I think it is Donald Trump. I think she has... I saw something that she caused some controversy or other with her opinions on the Capitol riots.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the details, but when you see that she's caused controversy in opinions on the Capitol riot, you kind of think, well, was she supportive of the riots? That has to be the case. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, she support. I know that I've seen things on when she didn't block me on Twitter. I saw stuff she said about Nigel Farage, which was supportive. So you can't help thinking, yeah, she probably does support Trump.
Well, yeah. It once again wouldn't surprise me, but obviously, I think India is talking about it as if she speaks for, as if India speaks for trans people, when in fact India is only speaking for bigots. And yeah, Eddie Izzard isn't there to speak for bigots, so.
Well, actually, that's not completely correct because they've stood
No,
up.
Let's not go into.
Well, they stood up for
into that.
They defended J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling is a bigot, so that's not not true.
But at the same time,
anyway,
whatever.
J.K. Rowling saying that trans people are men in dresses, because that is effectively what Eddie is.
Another turf trope there. Another true scum turf. Another trope. Another transphobic trope. Jeez, you really are setting a record here, India.
But for somebody who's gone through a medical transition, it is transphobic. And although I totally believe in free speech, J.K. should be absolutely allowed to say what she wants. Free speech and freedom of choice does actually work both ways, in the sense that people aren't obliged. If people don't like what they hear, just as much as, I don't like a lot of what I hear about Black Lives Matter.
Oh, why doesn't that fucking surprise me? There's as I said, bigotry is intersectional, so what? Transphobe, true scum, yeah, probably racist.
And I tune off or I switch over the TV. Mm-hmm. That's my choice. Yep. That's freedom. That's democracy. So there's no obligation under free speech and freedom of choice for people to actually listen if they find it distasteful. And whether J.K. Rowling is transphobic or not, that is for trans people to decide. No, nobody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we.
Yes, kind of. So, it's a bit. If you can't just judge it based off of a singular person, and there's things where it's very clearly hateful, but at the same time, you don't want trans people being talked over, which is why India Willoughby is talking over. Or wants to talk over every trans person who disagrees with her. You can't make a 100% stand down statement about anything when it comes to community. But yeah, what J.K. Rowling did was promote anti-trans stuff.
We can all make a decision. I think her standpoint is fairly straightforward.
I'll just say, as an aside there, that there's plenty of people under the trans word at the moment, and this. I vehemently disagree with them. I think they're ludicrous. They're absolutely crackpots.
Oh, right. So isn't that gaslighting?
I don't know. I am a crackpot, so.
Well, no, but what she's saying is that basically.
Well, she's saying that you're crazy if you're trans and you aren't a trans medicalist.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've always been confused. What does gaslighting mean?
So with gaslighting, it's essentially like saying. It's lying about stuff that happened to try until the other person, because your memory doesn't work perfectly, it rewrites itself. It's essentially tricking someone's memory by lying to them constantly about an event that actually happened. So it's like saying, Sophia, you've never actually been oppressed.
Right. I thought
and then just saying that over and over to you until you question whether or not you've been oppressed.
Oh, I thought it was making out with someone who's mentally ill when they're not.
No. That's not gaslighting.
Right.
Oh, I could talk all day about it. I would be classed.
It can be. if you're essentially saying someone is mentally ill and they say they're not, and then you keep telling them that until they question their sanity, that would still be gaslighting. I mean, you can use it. Just gaslighting's a little bit more broad than that.
Right.
Trans myself, I would
transphobic. Yeah,
currently is being transphobic, trying to stand my corner against somebody like Eddie Izzard, which is crazy. But that
you are transphobic, though, India. That's without a fucking doubt.
Well, yeah, because
even in the most, even if I wasn't as militant as I am, when it comes to trans stuff, if I was a little bit more liberal, you're still transphobic. Yeah, just about every trans woman I know thinks you are a transphobe. But you don't want to listen. You live in a fucking world of your own, a fucking world of hate and of insecurity and hate. The thing is, she's very insecure about being a woman, basically. Which the whole drag-phobic thing is basic, and I know where it comes from because I went through it myself. When I came out, I was scared about being compared to sorry, I shouldn't use that word. What we used to call transvestites and drag queens. I've been there myself, right?
Yeah.
But, everybody's an individual, right? And, there are, diversity is a good thing.
Yeah.
People being able to live their lives the way they want to is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's why it's a dog's breakfast.
Yeah, just let people live their lives. Whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy, do it. And as long as you're not doing anyone else any harm, just let everyone get on with their lives. Stop turning everything into such a drama. That's what's...
Right, now, she agrees with that. But the thing is, she's lying. Because she wants, she wants to say, you're not trans unless you conform to fucking India Willoughby's, standards. Otherwise, you're shit. You're not real trans. You don't deserve
not
to
trans enough. I'm wearing pants.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I do know trans women who have done that to other trans women.
Oh no, I know. I just think it's funny because of how much look, I get it. You're so jealous of my cleavage that you didn't want me to ever show up on the screen. I understand. But that being said, my cleavage is very visible and very nice, and the fact that I'm wearing pants doesn't change my cleavage.
Right. I think I do have a load of other stuff, but I think we'll leave that because we've been at this for almost 3 hours. However, before we go, I just want to get it up. Should have it here. That's Ozma's website.
Yeah.
For some reason, I did have your Twitter page in, but do you want to tell people where they can find you on?
So if you click the links in the right hand of the website.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, you meant me.
Yeah, I meant you.
Yeah.
So I think there are links to a lot of the stuff. The politics channel didn't do much. That links to my main channel. This
is Ozma's
Twitch
channel. Yeah. See if we can find your. Where's your Twitter?
Oh fuck! Maybe it's not on. Go back. I changed my mind. Go back. You can actually find my Twitter easier if you go back to the main page. I forgot. I made things complicated. So there's Ozma in the Dark, and there's Talking to Nothing on Twitter.
Yeah, this is oh, there's me.
Yeah, that's because that was the last tweet I did.
Is it? Right.
Well, I retweeted your
Well,
tweet.
I'll tell you.
It's the last thing I did.
There's your
Yeah.
profile. You can see you can see how Marilyn Manson looks without makeup,
Oh,
but
God.
but with their human bodysuit on, to cover up their true lizard being.
Look, I told you. Sorry, you almost like it. Almost looked like you accidentally clicked unfollow. It's just like, well, we're done now.
Right. Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
you can also find me on the Fluid Voice twice a week. We're trying to do something slightly separate with relation to the news thing, but you will also find me on here occasionally because I do want to show up here again.
Well, we should explain that we did start a show. Well, I started it. Very similar to the format.
Yeah, you started a show, which
on Wednesday nights on your channel, which is basically the same format as this show, but because you know, well, the third
it's theater drama. But this is how I explain it. It's theater drama. We had theater drama and split up because of theater drama, but. We want to still support each other.
Well, basically the third person involved. I suggested I wanted to take it more than once a week. I wanted to take it at least twice a week, and they didn't feel up to it, and so I decided to basically do this show, but try and get particularly yourself involved because, well, I think we work off each other very well. So you know.
Yeah.
So you're always welcome back, and you will be back because there is something we've been talking about we want to cover. Unfortunately, I've seen a very anti-Semitic video on YouTube, which for some reason has not been taken down.
Cringe. Yeah.
So, folks, that'll be enough for tonight. Please, if you like this video, well, like it. You know, share it. Please do subscribe to the channel, and please leave some feedback. Tell us how if you like what we're saying. In fact, tell us if you don't like what we're saying. As long as you're not like abusive about us being trans, I will allow it. It's a case of don't shoot the messenger, so to speak. Don't judge the messenger, judge the message. I think that's the correct phrase. Another brain fart. Well, you're always going to get brain farts.
I am filled with brain farts at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Well, look. Take care of yourselves. I will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. We still have a lot of material I wanted to cover today, but we haven't managed to. Hopefully we will do tomorrow. So until then, stay safe and, well, peace out.